A woolly mammoth weighed 6 tons, heavier than 2 pickup trucks. Ancient humans hunted these things every single winter, not by sneaking close and stabbing one. That ends very badly. They used something far stranger. They used cliffs. This is exactly how that worked. The evidence is genuinely insane. Okay, 25,000 years ago, you're a hunter gatherer living here. Your tribe is 30 people. That is everything. No backup food, no medicine, no safety net, just the group. And out there on the tundra roamed woolly mammoths, 12 feet tall at the shoulder, tusks up to 16 feet long, 6 tons of animal, fur nearly 3 feet thick. These things moved in massive herds. There were a lot of them. One mammoth kept your whole tribe fed for weeks. Bones made tools, skin made shelter, fat waterproofed their boots. So every tribe desperately needed to hunt these regularly. The problem was a mammoth could very easily destroy you. You cannot outrun one. 15 miles per hour, charging. Getting close enough to actually stab one was basically suicidal. Ancient skeletons show hunters with serious repeated fractures. This was genuinely dangerous work. Not glamorous, just actually terrifying. So at some point, someone had a completely different idea. Stop fighting the animal directly. Use the landscape as your weapon. Researchers call this a communal drive hunt. The whole tribe joined, men, women, teenagers, even young children. Some waved torches, some waved skins, some screamed. The goal was simple: push the herd toward one specific direction. Mammoths were herd animals. They followed each other instinctively. When the leader moved, the whole herd moved right behind it. Once at full speed, stopping became essentially impossible. The weight of the animals behind pushed the front ones over. From flat ground, you cannot see the cliff drop at all. The edge just looks like more ground until you are already there. The momentum of the herd then did absolutely everything. Hunters at the bottom then finished off anything that survived the fall. Brutal. But for a starving tribe, absolute genius. Now, this is not just a theory. Archaeologists have the actual proof. Head smashed in buffalo jump, Alberta, Canada, UNESCO World Heritage. Indigenous hunters drove bison herds off this cliff for 6,000 years. Same cliff, same technique. 6,000 years straight. Bones at the base are now buried 40 feet underground today. Over 120,000 animals were killed there. Hunters disguised as wolves and coyotes spooked the herd forward. Stone markers stretched 10 kilometers from the cliff. Men, women, and children all hid behind those stone cairns waiting. Then everyone jumped up at once, yelling, waving, chaos. Not improvised, not lucky. Engineered and passed down across generations. Now let's go somewhere completely different. Mexico, 2019. Workers building an airport north of Mexico City found something unexpected. 2 massive pits, each one 82 feet wide. Inside the pits were the remains of at least 14 mammoths. And here is the part that surprised everyone completely. Humans dug those pits by hand 15,000 years ago. Tool marks on the walls confirmed it absolutely. Groups of 20 to 30 hunters used torches to guide the mammoths. Those same pits were reused for 500 years. Then there is Poland. Krakow Spadzista, 25,000 years old. Researchers found over 100 mammoths at one site. More importantly, they found a flint spear tip inside a rib, not near the bone, actually still lodged inside it. Researchers believe hunters aimed specifically for the lungs and heart. That is not random. That is precise biological knowledge. Someone taught someone who taught someone across thousands of years, not primitive. A knowledge system that actually survived. Now here is the uncomfortable question scientists argue about constantly. Did humans actually hunt the mammoth into extinction? Mammoths vanished from most regions around 10,000 years ago, and that timing lines up with when humans arrived. Scientists call it the overkill hypothesis, still heavily debated today. The other side points to climate change. Warming shrank tundra. Less food, smaller herds, harder winters. Survival became very difficult. The honest answer is probably both working simultaneously. But here is the one detail that gets me every time. The very last mammoths survived on one island, Wrangel Island, remote Arctic Ocean. No humans could reach them. Isolated there, the mammoths actually thrived for millennia. The last ones died 4,000 years ago. Civilizations existed then. The pyramids were already standing at that exact point. When humans finally reached that island, the mammoths disappeared. What I keep thinking about is not the violence of any of this, it is the intelligence. No written language existed, no metal tools, no maps, no phones. Just memory and trust. They coordinated dozens of people across 2 open miles. No signals at all, just people trusting each other completely. They read animal behavior to predict exact herd movement. They dug massive pits by hand in frozen ground together. That kind of knowledge does not come from instinct. It comes from watching, failing, and trying again endlessly. Someone was first to realize cliffs could be weapons, and someone else had to trust that idea enough to run. That is not just survival, that is real courage. At Krakow, that flint spear tip is still inside the rib, 25,000 years old, still exactly where it landed. Someone stood in the cold, probably terrified, and threw it anyway. That person never knew we would ever find it, never knew that one moment would outlast everything else they did. These were not simple people stumbling through the cold. Organized, strategic, cooperative, working across enormous open distances. They shaped animal populations, they reshaped the world. And all of that happened before a single city was built. The mammoth hunters were not a footnote to human history. They were the opening chapter, written in bone and flint. Tonight, that spear tip sits in a museum somewhere, tens of thousands of years later. And now, at least, you know.